Hello, I'm John Elliott and welcome to Spot On, the podcast that talks to people involved in business and public life about ideas to help Britain win. My background is manufacturing, I love making things, and I'm always looking for ideas, policies, products and services that makes this country a better place. That means they are spot on. Joining me today is Mike Hutchinson, Managing Director of NTG Precision Engineering. Mike led the team that completed the management buyout of the company a few years ago and has delivered consistent growth, and is currently looking at moving to newer, larger premises. Welcome, Mike. I think it's a good start if we can. Just give me a background feel for what NTG is all about.
NTG is a precision engineering business. We work to fine tolerances, making components and tooling for various different sectors, everything from oil and gas sector through to energy sector to into a little bit of aerospace, but also into now getting into in the EV market and battery making as well, which is more recent.
Very fashionable.
Very fashionable, and certainly something that I think has got a real opportunity in the region and also in the country.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyway, so you're about small batches, really, precision work. It must be. How many customers do you have? I mean.
We've probably got about 100 different customers, but I would say there's probably around 20 that really are the core of the business at this moment in time, and they are right the way across a variety of different sectors, which gives us great resilience, I think, when it comes to different swings in markets, whether it's the oil and gas market going up or down, whether it's the food sector going up or down, whether it's the energy sector going up or down. You know, we've seen the benefit of that cross market capability over the years.
How have you found the last 2 years? Because things have gone more up and down than ever, haven't they? In 50 years in manufacturing, I've never known anything like this. Problem after problem, supply chain, not big problems, but always something different and distorting the rhythm. I've never known anything like it. Has it been the same for you?
It has been the same for us, although we've been very lucky that our sectors are, because we've been associated with the food, because we've been associated with the energy sector, the business has been continuing to get demand. It's been, we've been very much in business all the way through this process. We've been very lucky in that sense. But I also think that, you're absolutely right. This pandemic has thrown problems at people, but I think in manufacturing, that's what we do. We solve problems on a day-to-day basis, and I think this has just been more extreme.
That's maybe where we're more different, actually, because we're more volume orientated. Supply chain problems just cause havoc. We can't do anything. We make batches in long runs, so. It's difficult to describe the distortion. One component is enough to throw us out, and we can't do anything else.
Yeah, different for us because most of our work is based on raw materials. So until recently, we've been quite lucky in terms of the availability of raw materials has been good, but obviously with the current conflict around the world, I think this is also causing more issues more recently. And even more reason why actually we need to become more, as a country, we actually need to become much more resilient and actually thinking about investment.
I think we've got to be careful we don't overreact because this is unusual. It's not going to continue. Yeah. I mean, I've been saying that for 2 years now and being wrong because I was at a meeting recently with manufacturers and all of them said the same thing. They've increased their stock levels because of the shortage of components and then wonder why lead times have gone out. Yeah, it's the same as the toilet roll problem. And, if everyone responds, and like the petrol problem we had as well, and if you don't respond and become unreasonable, you don't get any petrol. So the behaviour of humans gets in the way, and that's where we lack control. I think we've got to try because we're all doing it for good reasons, but it gets out of hand.
Yeah, I agree. As someone described to me, it's a bit like swallowing a snake. The economy is trying to swallow a snake at the moment.
That's something I've never done, actually.
Well, it's something I've never done either, thankfully. But it is one of those things that it's the snake swallowing that rabbit or that large piece of prey, and it's just gradually working its way through the system at the moment. And I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing some short-term issues that are gradually just working their way through the process, and ultimately, hopefully, it'll all stabilise. But I am hoping is that as a result of the problems that have been going on, there'll be a continued focus on investment in the UK and creating shorter supply lines.
I think we should do that for other reasons.
Yeah.
I think we'll never get the UK economy to be sound without more manufacturing.
Aye.
We can't live on technology. You can't eat it, you can't wear it, you can't live in it, and those boring things that we all need, like clothes to wear, a roof over our head, food on the table, are done by people at quite a low skill level, actually. People who learn the skills on the job.
Yeah. What I would also say is I totally believe in we need more manufacturing in the UK. Absolutely.
Not negotiable.
Yeah.
But I think we've got to be careful, if you think of the strategy for the successive governments as being pie in the sky, in my opinion, what they say is we need to train more people with higher skills to make high value added products which we export. If you ask the question, who are we going to train what and who are we going to sell it to, you get a silence. It's just pie and it sounds good, doesn't it? And what we've got to do is look at the resources we've got today and how can we get the most out of them.
Yeah, I would agree to a certain extent. However, we in our business, and I'm obviously focused on my business. The level of skills that we require, it's not to say that you can't train people to do that. And what I would like to see is, I'd like to see less people being, trained or taken away to do degrees and or apprenticeships that are not actually focused on manufacturing. And I would rather see those people coming in to do higher skilled jobs and train them potentially through the process.
Absolutely. And that's our biggest problem. People wasting their time in our education system.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that's the biggest resource of labour that's misplaced. It's people that are kept into school to be 18 that want to get out and just do simple jobs that we need. Working in supermarkets and then developing from there. They would learn more and develop more by getting out in the real world rather than learning how to do quadratic equations.
I totally agree.
And even in universities, someone once said to me, what you should do is learn on the morning and do it on the afternoon. If you spend 4 years learning something, the chance of it being relevant to your job is zero.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that what we need is people to actually come in and do learn proper skills, and I think that will be beneficial for the
I think I would use rather the word appropriate skills.
Yeah,
what we need today, not what somebody in Westminster thinks is a good idea or a good soundbite. Something that's real life. Even today, we talk about the government saying they're going to try and have more high-skilled jobs. It's the wrong answer. A job should be productive. We look at the job as giving someone high income. A job is to deliver something useful.
So is there not? For me, I think there's an issue here about the sort of understanding or the visibility or the view of what manufacturing is. And I think there's still this sense that it is a dirty, dark satanic mills full of people that they're going to get whipped. It's far from the truth. We've got a high class facility. We've got a high class facility now that is clean. People, and I like to use the analogy. People come in. You can go and sit at a computer and you can spend sit in front of a computer that's £1,500 in terms of value, or you can come and run a £500,000 machine that's more expensive than a Ferrari, and I'm going to put you in charge of that on a day-to-day basis. For me, I think the perception that a lot of youngsters have of manufacturing is still that it's a dark, horrible, dirty environment. And yes, there are some manufacturing businesses.
But I think there's some people actually, their choice would be to do a job that we would consider quite repetitive, and I think not highly skilled, but needs responsibility. And I think that's about attitude. We've got to have the desire to want to work and do some boring jobs. Lots of jobs to get volume, you've got to make it boring. If to make one of our dehumidifiers required high skills, we'd have variable quality. We've got to make it so it's very difficult to make it wrong.
Right, yeah.
And make it easy to make. And find people who want to do a repetitive job that most people think is boring. But a lot of those people exist, and we need them. And the idea to keep them on at school to 18 to learn quadratic equations, when they'd be far better off developing themselves. See, I think rather than education, we need more child development. Education is part of that. Yeah,
no, it's an interesting view. I mean, I think, we're slightly at the different end, that we need people who are used to running those Ferraris.
That's right.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are far too many people still trying to go on to university, and a lot of the engineers, the really high skilled engineers that we have in our business now, would probably have gone off to university wrongly, in my view, now. Because that's where they would have been pushed by the education system.
And the parents.
Yeah, and potentially. And
ambitious parents are a big danger.
Yeah, and there is a place for that. But I mean, we're about to, we're looking to acquire a business soon. And part of that business, some of the people in that business have gone all the way through that business. They've started off as an apprentice. They've worked their way up. They've been a supervisor. They've been a production manager. They've gone on and done a degree sponsored by the company. They've then gone on and done a PhD. All of that is, for me, that is if someone's got that ability to do it, I would rather see them doing that through a business that's sponsoring them to get there and supporting them, and ultimately they're staying within the business and growing and getting educated at that, and they've got no debt. They've earned along the way.
Right.
They've earned along the way, and they can spend that money in the economy.
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. I think that's got to be changed. But I'm afraid ambitious parents and all kinds of things force people to go down these routes. And in our recruitment, we look for three things. We call it ASK: attitude, skills, and knowledge. Skills and knowledge you can train. Attitude's the one you've got to find. That's the one that doesn't really vary. You're born with that generally. And it's for different jobs. If you're going to stand on a boring production line, you need someone who suits that. And there are people who would suit that. We need choice, don't we? We need choice, so we use everybody in the population, not just the clever people who can design digital systems, which you can't eat, drink, or wear. And we need that as well. We need digital. We use digital a lot now. It's a useful aid. But we've still got to get people doing boring tasks for our lives to be reasonably good.
Well, it's like any good. It's like any good football team. You know, you don't have all goalkeepers, you don't have all strikers, you don't have all midfield. You know, you have a real range of people across the team.
I'm from the northeast. We don't have good football teams.
You never know. We might get there someday. No, but I think it's that team, and you're right. Everybody, we need a real variety.
You need
of
choice.
People. You need choice. You need variety of people and skills.
Well, we were recently visited by a couple of years before the pandemic, actually, by a local school. And one of the teachers was heard to say, if you don't stick in at school, you'll end up working here.
How wrongly placed is that comment?
And some people, it's right for them. Everyone doesn't want a PhD on quadratic equations. A lot of people just want to go to work, do a good job, and go home.
Yeah, and use that money to support whatever they have in their own interests.
Absolutely right.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Because as you say, it isn't everyone. Not everyone wants to be, leading a company. Not everybody wants to be.
Fortunately, not other people can do it. That's why you and I can get that job. It's just as well as people who are not as ambitious.
Yeah.
But you just need different people. And we need to look at our existing resources. How can we get the most out of them? Not how we can pay the highest wages.
Yeah.
A good job seems to be, in my opinion, this is what politicians say is, it's one that's highly paid, overworked. You get paid if you don't work. You get paid if there's no work to do. And that's useful for the person, but it's not right for the economy.
People have different elements of what satisfies them, why they come to work. Sometimes it's security, sometimes it's money, sometimes there's lots of different.
It's all of those things.
All of those. Yeah,
it's not only money.
No,
although money is very important.
Exactly.
So you've grown 20% a year, which is quite dramatic, really, isn't it? I always thought, because I started a business with one person, or one man and a dog, and then the man left. And I reckon every time you double the number of employees, it gets changes. Going from one person to two is a big difference. 2 to 4 is a big difference. 4 to 8. So every time you double the number of people you employ, it seems to be a different type of business. In other words, a business employing 20 people is totally different to one employing 5.
Yeah, I would agree.
And have you found the same?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we over the last 2 years, since I've been there, the business is evolving all the time, and I think what we've realised and what the team realised when we came and joined the business is that actually that they reached a point where they needed a new set of support, a new set of skills to help do that next stage, whether that was investment, but also managerial skills and lots of different other sort of business development skills as well, to continue that growth journey, and that's what we've brought to it. But you're absolutely right, and what we're trying to do wherever we can, though, is continue to recruit from inside wherever we can. So we're trying to recruit the pipeline. So we're getting apprentices involved. We're looking at other recruitment, so we can continually develop those people. So that as we grow and we go to the next stage, you've then got also those people ready to be for that next leap.
Every business has a specific culture, and everyone isn't suitable in the same culture. So some people will join you and leave because it isn't right for them, and there's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No.
And if you've got the culture right, people will join accelerate or continue the movement in that culture. But occasionally you've got to change some of the ways you work, and that's quite difficult actually. If you get to certain sizes, you've got to. But that's mainly management at the top have got to change their strategies.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that, because as one of the things I love about our business is the culture of the business, and it's a real it's got a low hierarchy in the business. There's no ego about the business. It's about customers. It's about precision. It's about service, and I think that's what stands the business in good stead. The challenge for us is how do you change the processes, as you just said, to be able to be a bigger business, but at the same time you don't abandon that culture, because that culture is actually what has made the business successful with its customers, as well as a great place to work, and why people want to come and work for us. And as you said, not everybody survives in ours. We expect a lot of
it's very healthy
team.
for them and you, actually.
Yeah.
If it's not the right job, move on. There's a right job somewhere for you.
Yeah, but I always say, even if you've made the right choice, if we've made the wrong choice of someone, we look after people still. We'll make sure that we can help them move on.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the right thing to do as well. You want to do the right things by people.
Always do the right thing, whatever that means.
Yes.
We spent a lot of time debating what our philosophy would be, and we came to the conclusion the most important value was fairness.
I think that's very good.
We dismissed honesty fairly early, actually, because I don't mind people saying I look great. I think, dishonesty is a bad thing with the intent, but we don't always tell the truth for good reasons, don't we? Because it's, but fairness, but that's also a two-way street. I'm fair to you, you're fair to me, and you're fair to him. So we're all fair to each other. It's a two-way street. It doesn't mean you've got to be soft or it's just fair. Yeah,
and I think that's a really good one, because I think honesty is is a bit trite, really, and it can be on everybody's thing. But if people aren't honest, you almost take that for granted.
You've got to be reasonably honest. But we might sometimes say something because it isn't very kind.
Yes,
which is quite reasonable to do that, in my opinion.
Well, that's fine. But at least you're being fair to someone as well.
Well, thank you, Mike. It's been very interesting talking to you. And thank you for listening. Join me for another Spot On soon.